You sit at the table with your phone in one hand and a mug in the other. The screen glows brighter than the room. A loan offer loads, pauses, then refreshes. The numbers change. Your eyes scan the page again, slower this time. Higher interest, different terms, a smaller approval range. Your grip tightens around the mug. The heat barely registers. Nothing about your life changed in the last 10 seconds. Your income is the same. Your job is the same. Your rent is paid. Your balance didn't move. But the offer did. You scroll down, then back up, like it might correct itself. It doesn't. You feel the small pull in your chest that comes when something closes quietly. No alert, no warning, just fewer options than before. The language on the screen is polite, neutral, calculated. You tell yourself you'll look later, compare offers, maybe wait. Time slips anyway. Another minute passes, then another. You lock the phone and set it face down. The room feels unchanged, but something isn't. A decision was made without you being present for it. You weren't rejected as a person, you were adjusted. This isn't the first time. You've seen it with rentals. A listing looks affordable until the deposit jumps. The agent's tone shifts after a background check. The words stay friendly, but the door feels heavier. You've seen it with insurance quotes. Same coverage, different price, no explanation that sticks. Your shoulders tense the same way each time. Your eyes narrow, searching for the detail you missed. You assume effort will fix it. More documents, more calls, more patience. But the pattern repeats. Every time a number is pulled, something narrows. Rates rise, choices thin. Waiting stretches longer than it should. You spend time filling forms that feel identical. Name, address, history. Again and again. Your fingers move automatically, but your attention dulls. The process doesn't feel hostile. It feels indifferent. You start planning around the restriction instead of questioning it. Maybe later, maybe smaller, maybe not now. The quiet realization settles in slowly. This keeps happening across different parts of your life, with the same outcome. Access feels conditional, and the condition isn't something you can point to in your day-to-day behavior. The moment happens quietly, behind the screen. A request goes out, not to a person, to a system. You don't see it, but you feel it in the pause. The slight delay before the page loads. The way your eyes stop blinking while the result is calculated somewhere else. Your hands stay still. Your posture tightens without meaning to. You're waiting for a judgment you didn't actively trigger. What comes back isn't a story, it's a translation. Years of behavior compressed into a single signal. Payment timing, utilization, missed details you barely remember. None of it arrives with context. No explanation, no margin. Just a risk posture assigned in silence. You notice how fast everything reacts after that. Prices adjust, terms harden, requirements shift upward. It doesn't feel like punishment, it feels like filtration. Time disappears as you reread the same lines, hoping effort might reopen space. But effort doesn't register here. Only pattern does. The narrowing happens instantly, before negotiation, before conversation. By the time you're present again, the decision is already embedded in the offer. You start recognizing the same sensation elsewhere. Rental applications that move smoothly until they don't. Security deposits that quietly double. Approval windows that shrink without explanation. Your eyes catch the change before your mind does. The numbers look familiar, but the access feels tighter. Insurance renewals arrive with slightly heavier language. More conditions, less flexibility. You feel it when jobs ask for checks unrelated to performance. When background systems sit between you and opportunity, unseen but decisive. The effort cost grows. More forms, more waiting, more time spent proving stability to machines that don't experience time. Your shoulders drop into a familiar tension now. Not fear, recognition. Each domain feels separate on the surface, but the pressure is the same. One input, many outcomes. You adapt without being asked. Delay decisions, Accept smaller ranges. Avoid friction where you can. Options don't disappear dramatically, they thin. And over time, the thinning becomes the environment you operate inside. Not because your life destabilized, but because a number traveled faster than you could. The pressure doesn't arrive all at once. It layers. You feel it when decisions take longer than they should. When you hesitate before applying, knowing the result might quietly close something else later. Your eyes linger on buttons longer. Your hands hover, then pull back. Each check feels small on its own, but together they begin to shape behavior. You notice how often the number is consulted before trust is extended, before terms are discussed, before context matters. The system doesn't need to say no, it just needs to price you differently. Time slips as you calculate trade-offs you never used to consider. Higher interest now versus waiting longer. More cash up front versus fewer choices later. Your body stays tense even when nothing is happening. A low, constant readiness. Like you're being evaluated even while standing still. What makes it heavier is the lack of a single moment to respond to. No confrontation, no meeting, no appeal that feels proportional. The governance is ambient, always on, always watching backward. And slowly, the realization forms. This isn't a temporary gate you pass through. It's a permanent filter you live under. Eventually, the feeling settles into routine. You stop reacting with surprise. Your eyes skim the numbers faster now. Your shoulders don't tense as sharply. You expect deposits to be high, rates to be worse than advertised, approvals to require patience. You budget around the assumption instead of questioning it. You plan for friction. You leave margin for rejection. Forms no longer irritate you. They exhaust you. Your hands move through the motions with practiced efficiency. Upload, authorize, consent. Time passes in small losses. 10 minutes here, an hour there. Days waiting for outcomes already decided. The narrowing feels ordinary now, like weather. You don't think of it as judgment anymore, just process, and that's the shift. What once felt invasive becomes invisible through repetition. The number doesn't feel powerful, it feels standard. You stop asking why access changes. You start asking how to fit inside the range. For a long time, you assumed access followed stability. That if you worked, paid, stayed consistent, the system would reflect that effort back to you. But the experiences don't line up anymore. Your life feels continuous. Your responsibilities stack. Your days look steady from the inside, yet access keeps shifting underneath you. The realization doesn't arrive as anger. It arrives as clarity. This isn't about trust being earned slowly. It's about risk being calculated instantly. The number isn't watching who you are now. It's summarizing who you were, compressing years into a posture you can't speak to. Your body loosens slightly when you see it for what it is. Not a verdict. A governance tool, a way for institutions to move faster than conversation, to price uncertainty without engaging with people. The leverage never belonged to you in these moments. It belonged to the metric. And once you see that, the pattern stops feeling personal, but it never stops being costly. You live your life forward, in real time, with real constraints. But access is granted backward, by a system that only knows history. So one number travels ahead of you, into offices you'll never enter, into decisions you'll never witness. It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't need to. It quietly raises prices, closes ranges, sets terms before you arrive. Not because your life failed, but because automated risk scoring has already decided how expensive uncertainty should be. And that number keeps moving, long before you feel the effect.